Hi there, Mark Jamin here, Medical Director for the Haywood County Health Department, and let's talk about this pandemic. Today, another in our series about why even consider vaccination. So in this video, let's just say you've recovered from COVID. That's great. Should you get vaccinated? Well, now there is some data about how long immunity lasts after infection and vaccination, and the results may surprise you. So please share this with someone you care about. There have now been several studies looking at what happens to the immune response after a person who was infected and gets vaccinated compared with someone who was infected but not vaccinated. Now, we've heard lots about antibodies as a measure of immunity. Well, it's not just about antibodies. Antibodies are made by what are called B cells. And when encountering an infection, these B cells rapidly proliferate over a few days and pump out antibodies designed specifically against that infecting agent. And once the infection is resolved, some of the B cells take up residence in the bone marrow, waiting and ready to start production again if the infecting agent returns. Now, researchers at Washington University looked at blood samples every 3 months from 77 people who were infected and recovered. 6 were hospitalized, 71 had mild illnesses. Their antibody levels dropped off quickly for 4 months and then gradually declined. Now, that would make you think that immunity after infection with SARS-CoV-2, the cause of COVID, only lasts a few months. But they also looked at bone marrow samples from 19 of these people 7 months after infection. Interestingly, 15 of those 19 had memory B cells, indicating that their immune system would be ready and waiting should they be exposed again. But 4 showed few or no memory B cells. In addition, 5 of the 15 donated bone marrow 4 months after that, and researchers found that the number of memory B cells remained stable. That's great news of lasting immunity for those 15, but for the 4, not so much. The conclusion is there is long-lasting immunity after infection for some. You just can't be sure your immune system has responded that way. And check this out. Another group of researchers studied 63 people 1 year after infection. 26 had received an mRNA vaccine, either Moderna or Pfizer. And in those 26, neutralizing antibodies, the ones needed to prevent reinfection, remained steady, while other antibodies slowly disappeared. Not only that, but the neutralizing antibodies made by these memory B cells worked against a broader array of variants. In fact, those infected and subsequently vaccinated had a 50-fold higher level of neutralizing activity compared with those infected who did not get vaccinated. So the conclusion? For those previously infected, vaccination has a big impact on preventing future infection. And despite what some politicians say, this makes the case that even infected people will greatly benefit by choosing to get vaccinated. And it may well be that with this degree of activity, booster shots may not be necessary if you had been infected and got vaccinated. Keep in mind, though, that the people in these studies all had 6 to 12 months period between infection and vaccination, time for their immune systems to have a chance to mature. So we'll see how that all plays out in a longer run. And what about those vaccinated who were never infected? Will they possibly need a booster in the future? Does the immune system react differently to a live virus in infection versus to a protein off the virus surface, as in vaccination? Well, we're still awaiting the results of those studies. So be well and be careful, especially right now.